podcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. It should be somewhere between 9 a.m. and noon if you are in the United States. It is about 7 p.m. where I am today. Just to quickly start, we're going to, per usual, give everybody about another 4 or 5 minutes to stroll in. Just sent out the last email a couple minutes ago. If you guys can just give me a quick notice in the question box if you can hear me. It is always nice to get some feedback on that. It wouldn't be the first time that I did an entire Webby and then looked and saw that nobody could hear the audio at all. Okay, it looks like that's working. David, do we have you over there?
We do, Nate. We got me over here.
Awesome. And yeah, George, no screen yet. I will I'll get the screen showing in probably 3 or 4 minutes or so. Let's see, Kevin, is that better if I speak directly into my headphone thing there? Perfect. Okay, I'll hold this up into my mouth. Guys, if you are already in the course, this is only going to be about 10 to 15 minutes. Realistically, it shouldn't include anything that you haven't seen yet. If you want to stick around for that, fantastic to have you, but you are definitely not obligated to. We're just going to kind of recap the last week or so and talk a little bit about our future plans for the Leads Academy. And then we will kind of just go on our merry way and hopefully have a productive rest of our business day. There we go. How's the weather down there by the beach today, Dave?
You know what, man? It's a little bit overcast. The summer has started, but sun comes out later on today, so should be good. But got a busy week. We got some scheduled appointments signed up, so we're ready to close some new partners.
Nice. Now this is kind of pre-Webby. Are you personally closing all of your sales guys feed the last deal to you, or like you're making the final close?
No, actually, I've completely outsourced that to the point where they're pretty much closing. They get excited and message me a lot, and so which I like to hear all that kind of stuff. Obviously, when we close new partners and stuff, but they completely that's a good thing about the lead generation, man. It's like, you know, if I had sales guys for selling SEO or pay per click and doing AdWords audits and all that stuff, it would be friggin' nightmare to completely outsource that. But these guys, they have everything. They have the cold emails that they send out. They've got the calls that they do. They do the follow-up process. Then they'll do the follow-up sequence, and then they'll get him on pretty much like a closing a call to where they go ahead and send them the agreement, and that will be either the same call or maybe they'll do the follow-up call and say, hey, are you around later today? We're going to go ahead and send that agreement out to you. And then they will go ahead and be like, yeah, we'll be around. Let's go ahead and get this started. And then so they'll just completely sign them up. That's when they'll kind of notify me, and then we send it over to the account manager to start preparing the ads campaign, the landing page, all that kind of stuff. Go buy a new domain, and kind of go through that process, setting up all that stuff. And then from there, it will be it's me right now calling them and congratulating them on boarding, but I'm going to get to the point where I am not going to do that anymore either. So.
Okay, very cool. All right, well, let's. I'm going to get this show started, and hopefully this thing records. It says that it's recording currently, which is weird because it shouldn't be. but that's okay. Let's go ahead and let me know if you guys can see my screen.
I can see it.
Perfect. Okay, I think we're good to go. Let me just try to pause the recording. I'm nervous about this recording. I'm gonna do it again. Let's see. I think we're recording. All right, I think we're good to go. Hello, everybody, all you late arrivals. This is the closing launch webinar for the Leads Academy. We truly appreciate you guys joining us. If you are just shuffling in and you are already a student in Leads Academy, you don't necessarily need to stay. As you can see, we've just got 4 slides here that we're going to quickly go through, just kind of recap the launch. Now, it is Tuesday, June 25th. If I look at my calendar, and let's go ahead and let's get this started. Now, I am going to just keep this in the view that we have it, and we'll go a little bit unconventional today. So the first slide, now if you are just joining us perhaps for the first time, this is Nate Fisher, and I am joined by my partner and good friend, David Longacre. I am coming to you from Kiev, Ukraine, and David is all the way back in my hometown of Huntington Beach, California. Now, if you guys didn't catch any of our incessant emails over the last week or so, we have been dropping out a number of free training videos that will get you started, kind of whet your appetite for the lead generation business model, give you an idea of what it is that we do. We have about 3 videos up. So here, if you are looking at the screen, you can go to this URL here, blur.ly/TLA, and you are going to want to check out these 3 videos. Now we have the pay-per-lead business building video, we've got the pay-per-lead crash course video, and then finally we have the Webby from last week, which if you're signed up for this Webby, you were probably on last week's Webby because I set it as a 2-part series, and that was our kind of general Q&A. Now I'm going to pop over to the YouTube channel here, and you can see these are the videos I'm talking about. We have this 46-minute pay-per-lead crash course. One of these is an interview style between Mark and David. I believe it's this first one here. And then the over-the-shoulder training is going to be David and I chopping it up for about 49 minutes or so. And then last week's webinar is going to be this lead gen Q&A. Now, if you guys have any more questions, any overflow from that first Q&A webinar, you can feel free to drop them in the question box tonight, and we will go ahead, or this morning, depending on where you are, and we'll go ahead and loop back around and spend as much time answering those questions as we need to. But again, these are going to be the 3 videos you'll want to check out. Video number 1, video number 2, and video number 3. These will give you a really good basis or foundation for the different types of lead generation models that exist, what we personally use not only in our business models that we run, but also kind of the tools that we have and the backbone that runs our lead gen. Now, if we move right along, let's quickly talk about the future of the Leads Academy. So today is Tuesday. We will probably let this go until tomorrow evening just so that I can get this replay sent out and made sure that everybody who wants to see it has seen it. Upon closing tomorrow evening, we are going to have the course officially closed for 2 to 3 months. And that will be a period of time where nobody can get into the course. We will probably add in a few of our personal friends that are waiting on the launch to get over. But outside of that, the course is going to be closed down. We are going to be scheduling our monthly webinar. We are going to be raising the price from the $4.99 price point we have for launch, which, like we said, is going to be the lowest price point that you will ever see the Leads Academy at. and we will be pushing that up to $29.97, and that will be where the price sits going forward as we kind of relaunch in 3 months, hopefully through some affiliate channels and sending some paid traffic to our landing pages. Now, the other thing that we're going to be doing going forward, and I'll just quickly touch on my section, and maybe David, you can hop in and talk about what you're going to be adding. But the big thing that I'm really working on right now is going to be a local site build or a local lead gen site build module. So that is going to complement the training that Mark has already dropped in there. I am going to do some over-the-shoulder training on building and ranking local lead gen sites. It is something that I enjoy doing. I'm going to be tearing apart a couple of different site structures based off of some research over the shoulder that you'll see me doing, what sites are already ranking well, whether or not you want to be doing local over a relatively small metro like a single county, or even kind of digging into sniper sites in a single city, or if you're looking at a national authority site. Those are all a little bit of a different beast, some of them more difficult than others, namely the national authority site style. But I'm going to be spending a good amount of time digging into that. I'll be building everything in Jensen, but the training will be expandable if you're using WordPress. If you're using any other system to build your site, it's going to be relatively high level in terms of my SOPs and checklists. I'm actually going to be redoing a lot of my SOPs in my favorite software called Process Street. The next thing I'm going to be doing is hashing out a different module for the AdWords section, where if you are using SCAGs, those are fantastic, but there also is a couple of other methods for running AdWords campaigns. Themed ad group, which allows you to have kind of a pool of keywords versus just a single keyword per ad group. And then David, if you want to kind of hop into what you'll be filling in over the next 2 to 3 months, I'm sure people would love to hear from you.
Yeah, so we're going to start off with a lead nurturing module, and that's taking them kind of from the hand holding of signing that agreement, and for your first 30 days is kind of the most volatile, and kind of onboarding them through that process and nurturing that lead, getting them started, and we'll have multiple videos in there, and so that will probably be my next module coming up here. And then we will move to the sales hiring. So the sales modules that I currently have right now, especially like module 3, which is just the outbound sales module, that will take just an average salesperson, or even just a person that's interested in sales and doesn't know. That'll take you from A to Z, how to do complete sales. And those are like qualifying questions that we use, the negotiation skills that we use, dealing with objections, any of that, that will take you from, an average salesperson to a really pro salesperson. So you literally have sales scripts in that already, to where you can just hand those off to your sales guys and upgrade their skills immediately. But this is taking you from you yourself wanting to hire some sales guys. I've had some success on Upwork. Again, it's not the easiest thing in the world, but I have some tips and tricks that I'm going to definitely put into an entire sales hiring. And my guys are on full commission structure, and I'll kind of go over my entire structure of of how you can work it, the different structures that you can do with sales guys, and then some success that you can have in different areas of hiring, as well as the payment structure that they could be on part-time or any of that stuff. So that would be a full comprehensive sales, and that's why the price is going to go up, guys. Is there's going to be a ton of, we're not just like stopping here and saying, okay, well, this is what we got. If you buy, today, tomorrow, you're grandfathered in to be able to get all of this new training that we plan on, which is going to make the value just go up tremendously, because this is literally, it's going to be the full A to Z. The Leads Academy is going to be everything you need to know how to run a lead generation business. So we plan on putting a lot more, and I have a lot of little golden tips that I'll just be start launching a couple of videos, putting those up for you guys, and especially the private Facebook group. That will definitely be some gold in there. So once we, we're constantly closing partners every day. I'm learning new things every day. My partners or my sales guys learn new things, and they'll go ahead and tell me. So we come upon all kinds of new stuff, every single week, and so we'll be putting that stuff in the Facebook group as well. So you guys will get access to that.
Awesome. Yeah, I can already tell just in the last few days or last week or so that the private Facebook group is going to be an extremely valuable asset. There's guys that are hopping in, a couple of Jensen customers that are very successful at lead generation, guys that definitely know what they're doing and even provide a different view or a different angle of lead generation outside of myself, David, and Mark. What we're really looking forward to is building the community out of all of us that are kind of going through this together. There's guys that are doing rank and rent as their primary function. There are obviously tons of us that rely heavily on AdWords and SEO and the pay-per-lead model. There is all sorts of goodies that can be had from a tight-knit community, and that is definitely something that I'm looking forward to growing over the next year plus or the next years. That is kind of it for today. Now, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in right now. If you would like to sign up, feel free to go to www.theleadsacademy.com/launch-day. That is our handy dandy landing page that'll drive you to the actual course to sign up. Now, we will be hanging around for as long as we need to get any questions answered. If you guys have course specific questions, feel free to drop them in. If you have anything at all, we can hopefully answer them. We've got one coming in from Colin here saying, this is a good question. How is this different from other trainings out there in the space? That is a fantastic question there. I would say that one of the major differences, having gone through a lot of the lead generation courses, is a lot of the sales, qualifying, prospecting, all the stuff that David has put in the course is extremely valuable. I cover a lot of the technical side of building landing pages, and that is kind of where I've lived for a really long time. And I would say that is maybe not the most important part of lead generation, because at the end of the day, fulfilling leads in a local service-based market is easy because you're competing against other smaller companies. You're competing against actual smaller companies like landscapers and plumbers, and making a nice landing page once you've gone through a little bit of training and have kind of the basics down, and at least making a better landing page than Joe Plumber who's competing against you, isn't the most difficult thing in the world. But really the sales training that David is providing is going to be monumental in helping you scale, as well as the way that David has been able to pull himself away from the day-to-day and hiring a sales team, and everything that goes into that is really what is the difference between hanging around and spending tons of time digging into landing pages and living in the technical world like I do, and kind of scaling your business to the multiple six figures a year gross and kind of really lifting off. That is definitely something that I haven't seen in any of the lead generation courses. I know we have a pretty nice software suite in Jensen that we will be having a pretty big update in the next 30 to 60 days, where I really want to create a nice custom plan for any of the Leads Academy members. It's a huge backbone of our business and something that I look forward to getting everybody involved using and contributing to. So hopefully that sheds a little bit of light on how we're different. We've got another question. Does this include any modules for client acquisition for my agency? David, maybe you want to take this one?
Yeah, it has, and that's actually what makes us separate from. I've been through majority of lead generation courses. I've been through a ton of sales courses, and the preparation I have had has been poured into the sales course that I've kind of created on my side. And so it talks about how to, go ahead and build those list prospects. I've kind of automated that process. I put all those modules in there, how to build a list builder, how to go and get the scraped, how to upload it to your CRM system. So everything is prepared for your sales guys, right? Because my sales guys need to be on fire when they're calling all day, and they need to have unlimited amount of lists. And so we have a massive list. So the list building alone is it's absolute pure gold, how to automate that system and get as many leads as possible. And then, so from there, it's pretty much like we have, again, guys, this sales it seems like it's one of those harder things, especially if you're not a sales guy, but it's going to take you, like my complete course is going to take you from you're just your average lead guy that has a rank and rent site here, or you have your one or two, lead partners here. Like if you guys want, 35, 40, 50 partners, to make some serious coin, this is where my sales course is really going to excel you. It's going to take you yourself, if you're just doing it yourself, or if you already have sales guys, it's going to take you from your average sales guy to an absolute rock star of knowing lead generation inside and out and how to sell it, and then making it very professional and how to do the closing calls and get the agreement signed and all that process. So that is really what separates it. I haven't seen anything out there like that, and that's the entire reason that we kind of brought this out there. But as far as the client acquisition, 100%, we have all of that in there. And again, guys, there will be sales hiring. So if you already have, if you're doing sales yourself and you want to hire sales guys, that module will be coming up. But if you already have sales guys on board, boom, you hand them module 3, module 4, and it's a done deal. They're going to be closing machines. So
awesome. So we've got another question here from David. That is not David Longacre. Haven't had time to view the last webinar. How advanced does the course get? I've been using a PPL model for 20 years or so. I love new ideas and approaches, but most courses just rehash the same basic stuff, especially interested in national authority site strategies. It's a great question, David. If you would like to check out the actual curriculum right now, you can go to course.theleadsacademy.com, click into that first enroll button. It's going to put you on the secondary landing page of the actual course, and then you can expand the curriculum. In terms of the national authority sites and the SEO in general, that is going to be something that I'll be dedicating a bunch of time to. I have a pretty long career in search. I have a lot of years in engineering, so I usually have been building my sites from scratch. Done a good number of things with Ruby on Rails and national lead gen sites. It is definitely my passion to kind of work on not only local lead generation sites or national lead generation sites, but also affiliate sites. We've had a business for a long time that was a local, it used to be an affiliate relationship of mine that then over the years matured into an actual business, was unfortunately ruined by an idiot business partner that had an issue. But I really love getting down in the weeds and doing things like creating functionality that allows for user-generated content. I've had a bunch of success kind of letting my traffic tell me what articles I should be publishing and what content should be there. So I guess in terms of how advanced, hopefully more advanced than anything you've seen before. If you don't feel like it is after the content has been released in the national authority site or the local lead gen site, then feel free to let me know, and I'm sure we will be fine working out a refund deal with you. We definitely want to make sure that we have the most comprehensive course on the market. And if you join and have any ideas of what you'd like to see in that arena, we would love that. But in terms of how advanced, I would say very advanced. I've been through pretty much every lead generation course. Some of them are half decent, some of them are good. Usually I've seen it done by guys that have been in the industry for a lot less time than David and myself, as well as Mark. So hopefully that answer suffices. I guess we will have to see how the national lead gen site stuff goes. I'm pretty excited to get that out there because it's a little bit of a self-serving purpose, but I'm going to be taking this opportunity to update all of my SOPs, move everything over into Process Street, and kind of get that all mapped out for my team so that I can expand a bit on building out local lead gen sites. If you haven't seen our software platform, Jensen, that was kind of the original idea, was for it to build local lead generation sites. It's still a little bit away from that goal, but I will be using that platform for my training. Let's see here. We got another question from Patrick. Are you ranking sites before landing clients? Yes. Personally, yes. Mostly because first of all, I'm not a sales guy. So I would definitely not be comfortable making any closed deals on ranking on a site that doesn't have leads flowing through it, or at least traffic coming through it. David, I know you have a fairly large national authority lead gen site. Do you rent out pages or parts of that site before it's ranking, or do you wait until the lead flows come in there?
Yeah, we actually, so majority of my lead generation is based on that we go ahead and just send them the leads once they get started. But I do have 2 national sites, and we just started our 3rd that we've had probably for about a year and a half. We didn't have time to focus on it, and I just checked Ahrefs maybe like 4 months ago, and it started started getting some progress. So we immediately just kind of got on it. We had we started ranking the damn thing in a couple of major cities, and then we just tried the acquisition of, hey, we got leads coming in your area, are you interested? And that's a pretty dang easy sale too, when you can just say, hey, we have leads in your area, go ahead and check page 1 on there. They see it, they're like, okay, there's leads coming in, how many can you send to me? And then so we acquired probably about 5 partners so far for the national site, just to see how well it would do. So I don't do it on a normal basis, but for national sites, it's a good way to do it. So
awesome. All right, next question we've got, how about niching down? And I know, having spent time speaking with you, that you definitely pop up niche specific lead gen brands. Did that make it into your training, and moving forward, how are you approaching the training on niching down, David?
yeah, there's multiple, even in the starting first module, just the pay per lead model, and I go into heavy into the different models that I've tried in the past and what's working really well for me now. And then obviously niching down is one of my passions, and I don't see it. I see people discussing it, and it's been put out there, but like really to really nail it down, niching down is just one of the most important things, and I take it to the next level of popping up little niche agency websites, making it a name similar to a name of a pest control agency, or an HVAC agency or anything like that. So I go through all of that kind of material already. That's already in the actual modules. that goes heavy into niching down and goes through that whole process. When I'm doing the lead nurturing and all that stuff, that's really where it's key, because I turn myself not into just an average lead guy. I turn myself into an actual kind of partner per se. So I become their marketing partner because I understand their niche so well. So I'll go over in that upcoming module how we kind of dug into the niche, into the nitty gritty of it, but just niching down and how to do it and why to get in and all that kind of stuff, that's already in there. But then really taking it to the next level of solidifying your partnership. So any average sales guy can't just come along and take your lead partners. That's what we'll be getting into next as well.
Awesome. Next question is from Eric. We are an agency that already offers PPC and Facebook ads, but we're looking for a white label solution, so we're not doing the work. Is that something you offer? And that is actually something that we don't quite have ready yet. We had internally planned on having our done for you offering ready for this launch. Realistically, it's something that we're going to be tailoring and perfecting over the next 2 to 3 months. And when we come out for part 2 of the Leads Academy, that'll be included in that launch sequence, also offered to existing students. So the short answer is not right now, and the longer answer is eventually, which is not quite longer, but you understand what I mean. Next one, do you cover the AdWords fulfillment in enough detail for a newbie to be able to fulfill and become profitable? Yes, I would say we definitely do. I guess that depends. It depends exactly on your niche and your geo, George. There are some niches and geos where personally I will just usually stay away from unless we can work a pretty sweet deal on the payout side of things. But for the most part, yes, it is. You can follow the AdWords training to a T. It is specifically geared up to be easier to manage than some AdWords strategies. We are going with a fairly traditional AdWords campaign model that makes it really easy to keep your ads, your landing pages, and your keywords all in sync so that you can keep your quality scores high, your CPCs relatively low, and easily prune your campaigns to make sure that you're just getting in the keywords that you want to be paying for and not getting keywords that are going to be wasting your money. So I think if there's any AdWords strategy that is good for a newbie, that is going to give you the highest possible chance of coming out the gates profitable, it is certainly what we teach. I do recommend, especially if you're pairing a new AdWords campaign with a new pay-per-lead partner, kind of starting out a little bit slower, making sure that your budget is set a little bit low, making sure that you are keeping quality control on the leads, making sure that you're double checking that the client or the partner is actually picking up the phone and able to make sales. There are certainly a number of moving pieces to the puzzle when you're talking about having fulfillment with a partner on the other end and you're new to both sides. But the entire point of the courses so that you can get up and running and get your lead generation business, because there was a point in time where both David and myself were completely new. So that is essentially what we try to do with this course, is to cut out the steps that took years for us to take and have them just take a month or so for you. So let's keep moving down. We've got a message from Brian. I'll be joining today and can't wait. We're super excited to have you, Brian. I was scammed by Darren Perky in his last lead gen training and look forward to getting the taste out of my mouth. We definitely look forward to helping you get that taste out of your mouth. Darren was it's a weird situation. Darren was certainly somebody that I considered a friend in the industry before that happened. I know that David was even closer to him before that happened, and it's something that still has me scratching my head as to what exactly went on there, but perhaps we will never know. We got another question. I am assuming that this also covers fulfilling those leads in the best way as well. Yes, this does cover fulfillment of leads. Mainly right now we have an SEO module in there that's kind of a broad SEO training. We've got everything you'll need to run an AdWords campaign. And then, like I said, the next big initiative for me is going to be adding a new AdWords module, and then much bigger is going to be me dumping in a lot of my knowledge and expertise for building local lead gen sites and national authority lead gen sites, which is something that I truly enjoy doing. So hopefully that comes through in the training. We've got another question here from Patrick. What tools will be needed? For my training, I kept the necessary tool set pretty sparse. I use a keyword tool called keywordfinder.com. I use the AdWords platform, which comes with a download that you can use that makes things a little bit faster, especially when dealing with SCAG campaigns. David, can you think of any tools that you have? I know maybe you have a scraper that you have in a module there. Anything else?
Yeah, no, mine's pretty basic as far as tools as well. Just a simple CRM system. We use Pipedrive, and then just a local scraper for a scraper. That's about it for that. The rest of it is just using people to fulfill the sales process.
Yeah, and I guess we have, if you haven't seen Jensen.ai, it is a lead management platform that is pretty good at lead management. It also has a website builder in, and it's pretty bad at that right now. So definitely on the lead management side, Jensen's going to be a fantastic tool. It can handle pay per lead on the per lead pricing model, as well as a fixed billing model, so that you can just kind of set it and forget it. If you are not following exactly the training to a T and you want to get started with some rank and rent sites, you can certainly use the platform for that. Let's continue moving on here. This is a good question for you, Dave, and it is, can one be profitable just using Google AdWords?
Yeah, 100%. So obviously, the one thing is the niche does matter. So niching down, but the good thing is, man, there are unlimited amount of niches. Lead generation is not saturated, nor are a bunch of niches. I have an entire video, a very long video of exactly the niches that are accessible through Home Advisor, which they have. If you're in the U.S., they have probably like 55, 60 different niches. And so you can literally just pick one of those niches that is not a very high CPC, and just run some, all you have to do is look at the competition, like pick a city, pick a niche, look at the CPCs, make sure it's not too high, look at the landing pages there, and majority in like an asbesto or pavers or concrete, any of that kind of stuff that's just like off the wall stuff. You're going to be able to run clicks for very, very cheap. You're going to be able to convert because the landing pages are awful. And so if you can follow our training, you're really going to become successful with that. I have literally lead partners that we don't do anything else besides just Google AdWords, and that it's very, very profitable with just Google AdWords. And in some areas, man, it does happen with certain cities, but there's some areas where you'll be profitable literally the first week that you sign up somebody. So it's kind of very, very cool. That's why I love Google AdWords.
Awesome. Next question down. When is this launch over exactly? We will be shutting the doors tomorrow, probably in the evening sometime. Just want to make sure that we're able to get this recording uploaded and sent out and everybody sees it. We're not particularly trying to set a firm timeline. If you happen to come right after the doors closed, we're very amicable humans. But tomorrow expect it to be closed, perhaps latest Thursday, but right now on our calendar is set for tomorrow. At some point, I'm a bit ahead in the world here in Ukraine, so I'm assuming that David will probably be shoring up the end of it tomorrow while I sleep, but that hopefully answers that. We've got here, AdWords and SEO are the main lead gen methods, question mark. Yes, that is definitely the case, David. I do have some guys that I'm friends with that use third-party platforms and other methods for generating leads. I can't speak for them that I can get them to talk about those, but I would love to get some interviews scheduled with them. Next question through. Also, do we have to use the free Jensen trial right away, or can we use it when we are ready? You can use it whenever you'd like. There is no timeline on that. Just hit up our support. If when you try to use the coupon, it for whatever reason doesn't work, you can let us know that you are a Leads Academy member, and we will make sure to hook you up. Kevin loves the time slot. I also love the time slot because I am a little bit east of you in Eastern Europe. Greetings to the UK. And we've got another question here. Kelvin Lee, I want to clarify, do you show how to build lead gen sites on a massive scale? Kelvin, can you clarify your clarification? That do you mean massive lead gen sites in terms of like sites that have a page for every single zip code and geo, or do you mean lots of lead gen sites that are not necessarily targeting every single zip code? To give you an idea, I'm usually stay away from the auto splog style sites, the mass page builder style site. We built a tool, I want to say 5 years ago, that was going to be called SERP Spike, that got acquired pre-launch and took me on a weird journey that ended up with me living in North Carolina for like a year. That is something that I try to stay away from these days. Jensen does have the ability to kind of mass build pages like that, but I really don't like that. I much prefer if I'm doing a national lead gen site that I'll have one page targeting a larger metro, and then sometimes depending on the population, I might add some site structure so that I can go from like a county or a metro into a smaller city within that metro. But generally speaking, I really don't like huge sites like that just because of the link equity that you have to build and the issues with getting content there that'll index nicely. And it's not something that I like to do. I feel like you're always having to use dirty tricks like getting a video sitemap to help index, or I don't know. It's just, having been in building sites for a really long time, it's something that I've strayed away from. Now, if you mean how to build lead gen sites on a mass scale, as in a bunch of lead gen sites, then yes, that is exactly what I'm going to be focusing on my training, mainly because I'm going to be handing my own training off to a team member so that they can follow my SOPs and just be sitting around and building lead gen sites all day and every day. So hopefully that answers your question there. Patrick would like to know, if I join, will I get a t-shirt? Patrick, if you join, I will have David personally send you one of his t-shirts off of his own back.
After the gym with a nice sweaty back.
So here's a good question, and I know this is going to be difficult to answer because David and I have spoken at length about this, and not every deal looks the same, and some look a lot better than others. What are the margins? So let's say, for instance, if you're doing $50K a month, what can you expect realistically to be netting?
Yeah, I mean, if you're, really, it's you got it depends on how big you kind of want to grow. I keep mine in a very small scale because I'm not looking to grow a very large agency. So I only have a part-time list builder. I have an account manager, and then I have two sales guys. So my overhead for that is pretty small. So the sales guys are obviously the guys that make the most. But if you're just doing this by yourself, and you don't have sales guys and you're doing all your sales, you're doing your account managing, you can literally, even if you got up to I think I was probably about at the 20 to 25K mark, just netting all of it until I started hiring sales guys. Or I had a part-time sales guy, and then he transitioned into a full-time sales guy. So my overhead is higher than it's ever been, but it's because I'm scaling like crazy. So we've passed the 50K mark, and with that, I think your overhead is pretty much just your sales guys. Your account manager, doesn't really cost that much either. So my sales guys probably make around, I want to say 6 to 7K a month. One of the guys probably makes around 9K. So, but yeah, that's pretty much.
Maybe touch on what is like the best ROI that you see out of an AdWords campaign versus what is the worst ROI in terms of ad spend to lead gross?
Yeah. As far as that, that is, it's kind of a tricky one. Sometimes you'll get some cities that are just very, very competitive, and so our gross on that is probably maybe like 750 to 800, and then we've got other guys where we make $7,000, in a month. So that's it. It just depends on the city. There's some niches that are really great too, that people I've heard have great success. And my structure is pretty dang simple. We just charge every single week, so we're not super out on the limb. But also the lead nurturing helps a ton, and we also, as we go along, we've raised prices on some of our partners in certain competitive areas, to where we kind of structure a deal where instead of just saying, hey, this is very competitive, but obviously when there's certain areas to where it is competitive, but they're also that's the real is solidifying the you making a lot of money is solidifying that partnership and getting to know how much they're making on their end. Obviously, they're not going to be just blabbing about it, but some of them do. Some of my guys will tell me they make 30K a week. So therefore, that makes our system and my sales guys very confident knowing that's happening. Because if they're making serious money, therefore we're not afraid to give them a ton of leads and oversaturate them with leads, because we know they could take them on, and that's kind of where the real money is made with certain niches. If you could, in the home services niche, if you could send them 50 to 60 leads a week and they can take it, you can make some serious money. And those are the guys that we make around 7K a month. And then the other guys that are smaller, the smaller guys are you're just going to not make as much. They can't take as many leads on. And you might run into some kind of trouble where they're biting at your leads. So you have to kind of take those off and stuff like that. So.
Beautiful answer. Next question. Is there any training by Mark Luckenbaugh? There is indeed. Mark is a longtime partner of mine. He handles a couple of seven-figure agencies, so he is really into the agency building side of the world. He has worked with me on lead gen deals over the years. Mark is a wealth of knowledge as well as access to resources. He has tons of links that he can get. He has all sorts of things. He will probably not be training on how to give an interview to the newspapers, but he is hopping in to the lead gen side of things. Next question from Kelvin. This is a good question, actually. How would you deal with directory sites that fill page 1? Now, it's a fantastic question. There was a recent update that I haven't fully seen rolled out. It looks like Google's being a little bit slow. Maybe it is rolled out in some SERPs, but they are stripping the listings to, I believe, 2, maybe 1, but I think 2. Someone maybe can correct me. But essentially, they are doing away with a single site holding like 3 or 4 listings on page 1, and they're stripping it down and adding more variation. So that's hopefully going to help. That as soon as I saw that, I was like, cool, that's cool. Another thing that helps with that is not necessarily having your own national lead gen site, but being more zeroed into a geo. So if we're talking about Orange County, which is where David lives and where I am from, you will see tons of Yelps or Home Advisors or whatever it is. And if you have a national lead gen site that's competing against them and you have 100 different cities with landing pages, then you're going to have to do some very specific link building to throw some geo relevance, to throw some actual power at the page, and you can have a good chance of popping up and out SEOing the kind of monster sites. But what I have seen that works real well actually is having a more geo-localized site. So for the case of Orange County, there's, I don't know, millions and millions of people that live there, and it can behoove you to not have a national lead gen site like americasplumbers.com, but instead be working with something like orangecountyplumbers.com, and that's a contrived example, but hopefully you can see what I'm talking about. And then you're able to really focus in on link building that is super geo-relevant to that specific metro that you're interested in. You can have even city-specific pages within that metro, so you're really zeroing in, and all of the content is kind of working together. I'll show you how I build out related content and handle my interlinking so that you can really leverage geo-relevance and tackle some of those larger sites and take away some of their top rankings. But that definitely is a valid concern, and it has been over the last few years, just with these enormous sites with ridiculous link profiles coming in and destroying the smaller lead gen sites. But it's certainly not an insurmountable thing to pass. David, here's a question for you. Do you have a link to that Home Advisor video?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's actually, the video is inside the course. It's in the list building course, which is in module 2. So I don't actually have a link to it. You'll have to go sign up to the course in there, but you get training to not only the Home Advisor, but we also utilize Google AdWords, organic SEO, list building, as well as Yellow Pages is a massive amount of guys on there. So you'll have to dig into the training there, but that's all in there.
Awesome. Here's a question from Patrick. Will you cover AdWords pay-per-call? That's a great question, Patrick. I actually briefly touched on this in the last Webby, I think. I have training all sketched out for this, and just being quite frank, I haven't had any of my pay-per-call campaigns on for at least the last year or so, and I wanted to get those back and running. There was a relatively large update in February of this year where the pay-per-call side of things with Google AdWords made a change that you are supposed to have the business answering as the same name of the ad that's being advertised. I would like to run some tests there. I know I have a couple of friends that have had their campaigns suspended for that reason while they're scaling. It's something that I would like to loop back around on. So that is loosely in the plans. I don't really like to train on things that I'm not doing, although we had one of the guys that was in the last webinar popped on after and was like, I'm still successfully running pay-per-call ads only. So pay-per-call ads are super powerful for kind of instant need niches. Landing pages certainly work fantastically for those as well, but the pay-per-call model has some issues with call quality and lead quality that you can kind of get rid of by qualifying with a landing page. We have, over the years, kind of shifted towards landing pages just because of the lead quality that comes through those. You can really cut down on the riffraff by calling out exactly who you want as your lead on a landing page. So that is a semi-answer. It is certainly something that I was using since day one of pay-per-call ads being introduced to the AdWords platform, and has kind of slipped away from my repertoire for various reasons there. Here we go. This is an interesting question from Kevin. What budget do you need to do a test in AdWords to find effective search terms? I was burnt following the CallZoo AdWords model, so I need a lower entry price point to get going. David, would you like to touch on that?
Let me see. So what budget do you need to test in AdWords to find effective search terms? I was burnt on the count. Okay. So you need a low entry price point. Yeah, I mean, I would say a realistic budget is probably around $500, because you can, especially in certain, it would be obviously finding a certain niche and a non-competitive city. I would say a city anywhere from 250,000 population to around like 450,000, to where it actually produces leads. Obviously, there has to be some search volume to be able to produce leads, but then it's not overly competitive to where you're kind of looking for something that doesn't have every single guy in there with every single ad extension and perfect ads, and then you click on their landing pages and those are perfect too. You're going to be looking for some mistakes in that realm. But if you find some good niches to go into, and you can test quite a bit of different ones, because there's just so many off the wall ones that you kind of would never expect, and there's a lot of those guys, those type of niches, like concrete paving and patio awnings, like all kinds of different weird stuff that you can just go, and those guys are they're wanting leads, and they're doing that. So a simple $500, and how we transition it is to where we go ahead and just send them the 10 leads, and we'll upfront that cost, which is probably around $300 to $400 to get them. Depending on the niche, obviously a lot less if it's certain niches, and your lead or your lead price that you're only charging them is 25 to 30, then it's going to be even less in there, and you're going to get your money right back once they pay you. So therefore, your upfront cost is what your agreement on is sending them those leads. After that, you're going to get your payment back, and then you're going to front that cost for the next couple, or the next ongoing leads. So it's not much at all, especially in certain niches too. I wouldn't jump into lawyers or dentists or water damage restoration if you're not a little bit more savvy on the AdWords and being able to go against those competitive niches. If you're not, jump into an easy niche with a very low CPC. And therefore you're lowering the risk on your end. So
awesome. Another question from Patrick. Jensen costs. If you would like to go to jensen.ai/pricing, you can see the existing pricing. However, before the next 60 days is up, or before your coupon is up, I will be restructuring that pricing around, again, removing the website builder from the pricing page, pricing more based off of lead flow than properties, which was kind of a not very well thought out pricing model. And then I'm going to do something very special for the Leads Academy's members. So everybody that signs up will have some sort of sweetheart deal where I want you to have access to the platform as well as provide me with feedback on things to add to it for an extremely reduced cost. There we go. Looking forward to get on the inside. So here's a question. Is there enough margin to be a middleman for these lead gen sites between site owners and service providers? Kelvin, do you mean like finding guys that already have sites that are ranking and then connect and doing the sales to sell the leads to service providers? I guess expand on that a little bit more.
Yeah, I would say there is for certain niches that are very high lead cost, obviously, and very lower cost to produce those leads, like kind of anything like car rentals, exotic car rentals. If they have a high close ratio, I'm not in the exotic car rentals, but if they have a high close ratio on their end, and therefore they're willing to pay high dollar for those lead costs, and you could produce those lead costs for a lower amount, or sorry, you find a lead provider that can produce those. There are, and that's kind of where those can be. And then also there's also like the affiliate model where you kind of are the middleman in between, where you're finding guys that can produce those leads, and then you're sending them to an affiliate network. I've seen some partnerships where guys, they're kind of the middleman, or I guess it's kind of a partnership, so you're not really the middleman. But yeah, if you can expand on that a little bit more, Kevin, we probably answer that a bit better.
There we go. And then last question is a good question because it's sometimes hard to track when you're talking about leads and prospecting, and if you're talking about the leads that you're generating to a partner or potential partners as leads. So Jason asks, can you explain lead nurturing a little bit? Does it refer to nurturing the leads you generate for partners? If so, do you explain this process in the course?
Yeah, that's a good question, Jason, and it is, you're probably right. The name, the more appropriate name is probably partner nurturing. We just call it lead nurturing because we think of leads as our prospects as well. So same kind of thing, but it's probably more appropriate for partner nurturing. And that's kind of where we don't really do any of the lead nurturing. Ours is pretty much a pay per lead model. So those leads are just sent to those partners, and they kind of do the nurturing. We do help, and that's part of our partner nurturing process. Is once you really know your niche, you can help as you gain more partners. We kind of give, not like in a full sales process to upcoming partners, but we can give them helps and tips. And so that's part of our partner nurturing process, is helping them understand, and it depends on the niche, but there's some guys that we have, they're just completely clueless how to run their business. And so some of them are really good. They're damn good at their business. They've been in for 20 years, but their sales process just needs a little bit, some upkeep, so we'll go ahead and tell them kind of what's working for some of our other partners. So that's part of our partner nurturing process. But our real partner nurturing process is just following up, making sure that everything is working on their end. How much are they closing? How are they preparing their leads? What's their follow-up process? And we can ask them this kind of stuff. Like, we already do this in a lot of our qualifications, so we already kind of know all of this stuff. But you would be surprised at how many people tell you that they have an amazing close ratio, they have all their shit together, and then it all kinds of falls apart once you get them on board. So that's really your job to keep and solidify that relationship. And that's kind of what our partner nurturing is to just keep them on board and happy with that. So
awesome. All right, so it looks like
you got one more, I think, that just came in there.
We did. Hello, Craig. Craig is asking, how different is the technical training? So the technical training is completely revamped. from the Jensen stuff, as well as all of the new content that will be coming, will be completely not only revamped but unseen before. All of my local site lead gen stuff. If you'd like to get an exact look at that, you can go to course.theleadsacademy.com and then look at the curriculum, or you can actually just hit me up on Skype, Craig, after this. I'll be around for probably the next, let's say, 6 hours or so. But all right, it looks like after that LinkedIn, we are done with the questions. Wanted to thank everybody for joining us. Thank you, David, for spending another one of your mornings with me. Just to recap, we are done with the Leads Academy launch. If you would like to get in at the $4.99 price, we recommend doing it as quick as possible, because once this recording is out and published tomorrow, the price is going to be going up to $29.97 or possibly $29.99, depending on what we decided with that extra $2 there. And we will be closing the doors for the next quarter or so while we tend to the community, add some more modules in there, and make sure that we are ready to go for the kind of larger launch later on in the year. Thank you guys for watching this. I will hopefully get the recording out tonight. Otherwise, it will be out tomorrow at the latest. And I hope that you have a fantastic week, and we will catch you on the other side.
Thanks, guys.